Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm so excited you're here. Yes, I know I look ridiculous, so I will at least take off my sunglasses, but we are 1 week from Turkey Day. So today I'm excited to be here with Tulip. Those of you that aren't familiar with Tulip, I'm sure you probably are, but they make a great assortment of products, everything from tie-dye to dimensional fabric paint and even fabric markers. So we're going to be using all three of those today to create the perfect Thanksgiving Day dinner outfit. So I've got part of this outfit on, and I'm going to show you how to do this tie-dye technique and then how to create the design on the front. So before we get started, I'd love for you to go ahead and chat and tell me where you're watching from. We always like to say hello, so we'll do some shout outs in just a few minutes. And if you do have any questions as I go through, you can send those questions directly to the person on there that's titled Ask Me Questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. All right, so our main ingredient for today's project is our one-step tie-dye kit. So I am going to shift this around. There we go. Okay, make sure you guys can see me. All right, so within this kit, you get a variety of different colors. You also get all the things that you need. So you're going to get your gloves. You're also going to get a whole bunch of rubber bands. And then you'll also get a plastic sheet like I have here. So to get started, you always want to cover your work surface. I also have a tray down to make it easy for me to lift this up and move to the next step. A tray is not needed. Just make sure you use that plastic to cover your surface. We're going to be doing a set of sweats today. We're going to do our main work on the sweatshirt. Now you want to make sure that you pre-wash your fabric ahead of time. And if you're going to do the dry method of tie-dye, you can go ahead and dry it in the dryer. If not, and you're going to do the wet method like we're going to do today, leave it damp so that that dye will soak in. So I've got a sweatshirt here, and I'm going to go ahead and lay out my sweatshirt. And there's a bunch of different ways that you can fold your sweatshirt to get different designs of tie-dye. And within that box, there's also some instructions. And in those instructions, it gives you the step-by-step, but it also gives you different ways in which you can fold it. But we're going to do a twisted pattern today. So we're laying out our sweatshirt, and then we want to figure out where we want the center of that twist to be. And so I'm going to pinch that center twist, and we're going to start to just twist it around. Okay. And if you haven't typed in the chat box yet and said hello to me and told me where you're watching from, please do. We're going to be monitoring those and doing some shout outs in just a few minutes. Hope will let me know when we're ready for some shout outs. So all I'm doing is spiraling it around, and you want to go slow and make sure that even the arms of your sweatshirt are going the proper direction. Okay. And you'll want to gather it as you go. Okay. Now, once you've got it in your shape, we're going to pull out those rubber bands, and we're going to rubber band it into sections. Now, this may take a little maneuvering or doing once or twice, but we're going to start with our first one. And you know what? I'm going to take my headband off because I think I keep bumping the top-down camera with my big turkey headband. So we're going to put our first one straight across the center. So we want to keep an eye on where that center is. Okay. All right, so we are 1 week out from Thanksgiving. Who is ready? Who's already gotten their turkey? Who's planned their menu? Let me know. I was just saying before this that I have not bought my turkey yet, and I really need to go do that like today. So let us know if you are ready and prepared. Got your turkey? Tell us in the chat. All right, so we're going to put this second rubber band on. And again, I'm trying to keep them centered across that center. And you can do as many sections as you would like. I'm going to go ahead and put one more on, and then we'll even out our sections once we've got these all on. But the key is to keep them crisscrossing in the same area, okay? And then we can adjust them to make sure that our pie pieces are even. Okay, I've got another question. I like to ask you guys questions. Who has tie-dyed before? If you have done tie-dye before, tell me in the comments. It could even be like 20 years ago when you were a child, because I did this growing up. So Tulip has been a household name for me since I was a child. From the dimensional fabric paint to doing tie-dye projects, I've been doing it for probably, let's see, I'm 36, so probably at least for like 25 years. I did crafts with my mom all grown up. All right, so what I like to do is also flip it over and make sure that my crisscross looks good on the back as well. You can see how nice and tight that spiral is on the back. If for some reason, look, we've got a sleeve hanging out, we can make sure that we keep that banded in there, even if you just get a little piece of it. So you want to make sure that you are still crisscrossed in the center on both sides. Okay, now you're going to take your bottles. So let me show you this pack. I've got mine already mixed up, but you'll take the bottles out of your pack and you're going to fill them up with water and shake them. I went ahead and did that. Some tips with that. So you will want to fill them up almost to the top, but you don't want to go too high. So I go to about that section of my bottle right there. And you want to shake them over a trash can just in case there's some excess on the outside. And you also want to do this with your gloves on. Okay, so in your pack, you get some gloves. Okay, so I've got some gloves handy here that I'm going to put on. Remember, you are working with dye, so it will dye your hands. So it's really important to wear those gloves. Okay. So make sure you get your gloves on, and there's a bunch of different pairs, so you can switch your pairs out as you go. I also like to have some paper towels handy, and I do that because in case like this, my dye gets on my plastic and it starts to spill out, I want to try and keep my sections separate and try and keep them from mixing. But even if they mix, it's not the end of the world. You do want to think about what colors you're putting next to each other. So we're working with brown because it's Thanksgiving. So we're not too worried about our colors mixing and getting brown. But if you are doing other color schemes, you want to make sure that you're cognizant of what colors you're putting next to each other because they will probably bleed a little bit into each other. All right. So what we're going to do to start is I like to take off the top of one at a time. And I'm going to start with my brown. Okay. And I'm going to slightly put some dye in. Now, one of the important things you want to do is you see these little folds here. We want to make sure that we get in those folds because we want to get to all of the different parts of the sweatshirt because we want a nice coloring. All right, Hope, do we have some shout outs?
We do. We have Rhonda tuning in from Ontario.
We've got Rhonda from Ontario. Hi, Rhonda. All right, if you haven't said hello to me yet, please do. I want to say hello to you. All right, so I am putting a good amount of dye. You don't want to oversaturate, but you want to make sure that you get in so you can kind of stick that nozzle in those different cracks, okay? And then you can decide how you want to do your pattern. So if you want to do them across, you want to do them next to each other. If you want to do like 2 blocks of brown, you can. I'm just going to alternate around my circle. And you know what? No matter which way you do it, you're still going to get a really cool pattern. So we're going to do a little bit of orange on this side right here. And this is just one technique. There are so many different techniques. So make sure that you are following Tulip on Instagram and on Facebook. There are so many different projects that they are sharing daily, not only with tie-dye, but there are other products too to inspire you. So make sure you check those out. And then we're going to do, let's do some yellow. We'll do yellow over here. And I'm going to do this fairly fast, but keep in mind, you want to make sure that you're getting in all of those cracks. Hope, have you tie-dyed before?
I have.
You have.
I had a tie-dye birthday party when I was 10.
Hope, who is behind the camera, who is our production manager, had a tie-dyed birthday party when she was 10. That sounds like a birthday party I want to go to now. All right, so I'm doing my brown directly across. Keep in mind, so see my yellow ran a little bit. I'm not super worried about it. As long as it doesn't overtake that section, you'll be fine because tie-dye is a very fluid art, right? And it's going to look different every time you do it. So from the shirt that I have on to the one I'm going to show you that is done, to even this one, they will all three look a little bit different. It's almost hard to get the exact same design each time, but that's kind of fun. Each piece is unique. All right, and then we're going to finish this section with orange, okay? And then your next step is going to be to flip it over, okay? Remembering to also get in those little crevices. Try to not get too much. If you do get some on your plastic, wipe it up with your paper towel because you don't want it to spread around and get into the other colors. Now, when we flip it over, we may see that some of our colors may have blended. That's all right. Not a big deal. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to pick this up and I'm going to wipe with my paper towel. So this is where you kind of got to work with two hands. Just going to wipe up any of that excess on my plastic and I'm going to flip it over. Okay. And now you'll see we get some bleed, but it's really not a big deal. You'll see, whoops, I'm going to go in there. I even just went a little bit off. I'm going to go real quick. So the sweatshirt I have on, we had the same thing. We had a little bit of bleed and it was not a big deal at all. It actually looks really cool afterwards. All right. Hope, do we have some shout outs?
Not right now.
All right. So if you haven't given me a shout out yet, please do. I want to say hello to you and say happy Thanksgiving because gosh, can you guys believe it? We are 1 week away from Thanksgiving. What? Isn't that crazy? Time is flying. I feel like Halloween was last week. You may have seen in the beginning that I have Christmas decorated behind me. So last week we launched Michael's Dream Tree campaign on their Facebook page. So we are already decorated for Christmas. So we got a little bit of Thanksgiving, a little bit of Christmas happening. All right, now here is what we want to do. We want to use this seam plastic because we are going to let our dye sit. So you can follow the instructions on the pack, but I like to let mine sit for about 6 to 8 hours wrapped up. Okay, so what you want to do with your plastic is you're going to wrap it up nice and tight. And then we want to keep some of these rubber bands that we have handy. Okay, so wrap it up nice and tight, like a package. Okay, and then you can take a rubber band, put a rubber band or two around it. You want to make sure that all of this dye stays in there. Okay, just to keep it shut. So you're going to let it sit for 6 to 8 hours. And then once it is done, after that 6 to 8 hours, you're going to take it and run it under a cold faucet until the water runs clear. So you're going to run out all that excess dye and then you can wash it. So it's a pretty simple steps to get it done. Now we've got pants too. So I'm going to show you the pants. We're not actually going to dye them, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to fold pants. If you want to make a full outfit for your Thanksgiving dinner, I don't know about you, but nothing to me sounds better than spending Thanksgiving Day and the dinner portion in sweats, right? Nice and comfy. So I've got a pair of white sweats here. And we're going to do the same thing. It's up to you where you want the spiral. If you want the spiral to start at the top, you can start at the top. Maybe you want the spiral to start from a leg, you can start it here, or you can also do multiple spirals. So if you're going to do multiple spirals, you just spiral on both legs. So say we want ours to start here. We're going to do the same thing. And we're going to twist and twist and twist. Okay. And then we would band them the exact same way that we banded our pant or banded our sweatshirt. So the exact same way, and we do the exact same technique. So if you repeat those same steps with the banding and the dye and you let it sit. Now, I've got some stuff that's already done to show you guys how fun these are. All right, so let's take a look at the pants first. So pants, we got some pants, and I'll show you both sides of the pants. So we got some pants, and then, and you don't get the true value of how bright the colors are on this camera, but they are super bright and fun. So we've got some pants, and then the sweatshirt, which we're about to have some fun with. So my sweatshirt is a little bit lighter, which I like this pastel. I think it's fun. It's like pastel Thanksgiving, which is cool. But you'll notice the difference, right? So I let this one soak in a little bit longer. So I left this sweatshirt for about 10 hours to sit. And this one was closer to the 8-hour mark. So you'll get a deeper color the longer you let it sit in. But I wanted to show you the difference in the two. All right. Now you could stop here and have some awesome sweats to wear for Thanksgiving, but you can also have some fun with them. So for that portion, we've got some fabric markers, which are great because these are fabric, right? So they will wash in the washing machine and not wash off. So again, you get all these products that we're using today on michaels.com or in store. And then we're also going to be using, I've got a few colors pulled out of my Tulip Slick Dimensional Fabric Paint, which also, again, is washable. So we've got a yellow, black, brown, white, orange, and red. But you can get a giant pack of it that gives you rainbow colors and neon colors. So you can get all the colors. Now, You can just use these if you want to create your design. You could just use your dimensional fabric paint, or you could use both. I'm going to actually use both because I like, before I use my my dimensional fabric paint, I actually like to draw out my design on my shirt and then trace it. I know I'm a little bit crazy like that, but I just feel more confident when I'm drawing something first. So you can use any color you want. I've got a yellow. I'm going to pull out a black as well. And then one other thing that I do is I'll sketch out what I want to do first, just to make sure. So we're going to do gobble till you wobble. And we're going to draw a little turkey off the G, but I like to sketch it out ahead of time, so I have an idea. And then you can also, if you want, lay that. So if you know that this design fits well in your sweatshirt, you can go ahead and lay that right above, so you kind of know where to start and where to stop to make sure that it's in the center. Okay. All right, so we're going to start and we're going to write gobble. We're going to do the gobble part first. All right, so we are going to do a G. All right, I have another question for you. What is your favorite Thanksgiving food? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to know what your favorite Thanksgiving food is. I fluctuate between this. So turkey is actually not my favorite, and a lot of people like the turkey. I like the sides more. So I really like stuffing. I like we make a loaded mashed potato at my house, which is so good. And then my mom makes a delicious sweet potato casserole with this like candied pecan on top of it. And it's so good. All right. So we did gobble. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trace over that. So I feel good about it. And I'm going to add, you could stop right there and you could just use this, but I'm going to go ahead and put my dimensional fabric paint over it, and it covers it up so you don't see your lines. But this is just me. If you're a beginner of writing with dimensional fabric paint, it's a lot easier to be able to trace something that you have written out than to start from scratch. So if you are nervous about writing with this, that is a good tip that I have used and makes me feel a little bit more confident when I'm working with it. And I always like to say that this dimensional fabric paint too, it almost is like if you are good at decorating like cookies, it's kind of the same type of movements. If you use icing to write on cakes and things like that, it's the same type of technique. Yes, we got a question, Hope?
We have some comments.
All right, let's hear the comments.
At some point, can you show the pants again?
Oh, yes. Okay, give me a second. I will show the pants as soon as I get done with this because I don't want to move this while I'm in progress, but I'll show the pants in a second.
And then we have some favorites when it comes to food.
Let's hear the food favorites. We have
mac and cheese.
Oh, mac and cheese. You know, mac and cheese is not something that my family does, but I love a good mac and cheese.
We also have stuffing.
Stuffing, yeah.
Broccoli and cheese.
Oh, broccoli and cheese. We don't do broccoli either. I'm not a broccoli fan, guys. Out of all the vegetables, that's the only one I don't like.
And sweet potatoes with toasted marshmallows.
Ooh, sweet potatoes with toasted marshmallows. That sounds delicious.
And we have a question.
Okay, let's hear the question.
Will the fabric paint bleed to the back?
So this fabric paint will not bleed through. If you need a sturdier surface, you can put a piece of cardboard in there, but I have found that this fabric paint does not bleed through, especially because you're working on a sweatshirt and it's super thick. If you're working on a thin t-shirt, you may want to put something on the inside. All right, now I'm going to get my brown and we're going to make the turkey part because I think this is the cute part that you guys are probably most interested in. Now, again, if you want, you can draw. So if you're nervous, right, we can take our brown, we can draw our turkey legs. And you can do this if you don't want to do these in dimensional fabric paint, right? You can always just do these in the markers. So there's a lot of options. Let's see. Let's do, I'm going to draw my head in brown first. And then I'm going to freehand some of the rest of this. But so you guys get that this is a good option. I draw a head right there. Okay. Now we'll come back with our brown. And I always like to just start, I check my paint. If you see where I'm going with this, I have a little spacer on the side of my table. I just check to make sure that there's no air bubbles or anything at the top so that I get a nice clean line once I start painting. So you're gonna make our little turkey claws, turkey claws, right there. Okay, and then we're gonna make our turkey head. Okay, so we'll trace that line again. And it's nice having that line to trace. You don't have to be nervous. You just follow that line. Okay, now we are going to make our beak and we're going to use orange dimensional fabric paint for that. So I am, and be careful you don't set your hand in there. I almost did it. Just be very careful. So we're going to make a little triangle and we're going to go straight over the black. And then I'm just going to flood, just like you would if you're decorating cookies, right? I'm going to flood the inside of my beak. And then I'm going to keep this top off because we're going to make feathers with that. And then I'm going to take my red and we're going to make our wattle. So I'm going to do a little wattle right off of here. Actually, the wattle is usually pretty big. So we'll do, you can make your wattle as big as you want. And then you just want to be careful as you get kind of close to some of those other colors. Just be careful that you don't mix. Flooding in our wattle right there. And then we're going to make our eyes white. All right. So we're going to make some white eyes and we'll make our eyes solid, but we'll start. I always start with the outlines. And we got an eye right here and an eye coming around here. Just like that. And then I'm going to actually fill these in, but I'm going to be very, very careful because I'm going to fill in around that beak, right? So you want to use that tip. You've got a nice precision tip on these. So you want to use that precision tip to help you. Not mix too much. And if you want to go a little bit bigger, I'm going to go a little bit bigger with this one. Okay, a little bit bigger. And then for the dots on my eyes, I'm going to use a black and I'm going to lightly just dab a dot. So nothing crazy, just dab a dot right there and right there we go. Okay, so you barely touch it so that we don't drag that white with us. And then last but not least, we're going to do some feathers. So I'm going to start at the top of my turkey's head. And I'm going to do a feather. And if you want to color these feathers in, you could color them in with your fabric markers. So if you want to color them in, that could be an easy way to do it. Okay. And then I'm going to grab some yellow. We'll do another yellow one right here. Okay. All right. And you can do as many feathers as you want. I'm going to do a few more. Do another yellow one. And if for some reason when you're drawing a line, it disconnects, just go right back over it. Sometimes if my hand shakes, it'll disconnect. And again, be careful that you do not touch the other parts that are already done. Okay, so I disconnected a little bit right there. Not a big deal. All right, yes, we got a question, Hope.
What are the little bottles that you're using right now? Is it a dye?
No, so these little bottles that I am using are Tulip Slick Dimensional Fabric Paint. They come in a larger pack that includes rainbow colors and neon colors. These are great. And so they are fabric paint, but when they dry, they have dimension on them. Which makes it nice because it gives your outfits a 3D effect and they work great through the washing machine. You just definitely want to wait at least 24 hours before you wash them. They come in a variety of different colors. All right, so for the next Till You Wobble, I'm going to freehand this one, okay? I've done this design a couple times, so I'm feeling a little bit more confident. So I'm going to do Till, and I chose black for my main font color, but you can choose whatever color you want. So Till You. Okay, and then we're going to do wobble. And I'm going to do my wobble in a little bit of a cursive font because I like how nice and easy it is to work with the flow of these dimensional fabric paints. So look at how nice and smooth. You can also practice. So I've practiced a lot on other pieces of paper. So I've used I practice on just a piece of paper till I kind of get my handwriting the way I want it when it comes to working with my fabric paints. So you can always practice, right? Practice makes perfect. All right, and I missed a few little lines right there. So I'll go back and I'll attach. We got a little top of our O. No, there we go. Okay. Then last but not least, you can come back in and you can decorate some more. So I've got some squiggly lines that I started kind of over here. Whoops, get a little out there. And again, you can have fun with this. They can go up and around. You can have fun. You can get crazy with it. You can do as much or as little as you want. And then we'll add in some dots. Dot, 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 dot. Hope, can you grab that tray for me so I could take this one away on that tray? Because I know we've got some people who want to see the pants again. All right. And that is pretty much it. So now you need to wait for it to dry. So I would give it 24 hours just to be safe. Your puffy paint will be dry to touch in a few hours, but thank you. I'll have that handy here. I would give it just a minute before you actually wear it. So let it dry, a couple hours to touch, then give it 24 hours before you wear it or you wash it. All right, what do you guys think? Do you like that? It's easy, right? What I love about this is how easy it is. So if you guys liked it, let us know. Even if you're watching the replay over on YouTube, you can always give us a thumbs up. We'd love to get your feedback. All right, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to put it on and we'll come back and I'll show you the finished one I have on again in just a second. I'm going to slide this oh so carefully. We don't want to mess it up. Yeah, okay. So if you are going to need to move it, you can put it like I've got a lid to a tub that I used, and that's what I used as a tray. So if you're going to need to move it, go ahead and put it on one of those. All right, pants wise. My pants are a free form design, so you can check out the pants. And these are fun. You can do anything with these. You could even do stripes. If you wanted to do stripes, stripes are easy. You would just gather and band, and you could do different blocks of color. So if you banded, you kind of scrunch them up almost like an accordion and then band all the way down. So there's a lot of different options. All right, can we switch back to the front facing camera? I'm going to show you guys my sweatshirt. All right, can you guys see it? Yes. Okay, cool. So this is what it looks like when it's dry. Isn't this the perfect Thanksgiving dinner outfit? I don't know about you, but this is my outfit. And I'm going to put those pants on too, and I'm going to enjoy it and relax and eat all the things, right? All right, friends. So that was it for today's craft. I hope you loved it. We would love to see your projects, even if it's not Thanksgiving tie-dye, and you're making some tie-dye projects or projects with a dimensional fabric paint. Make sure that you tag hashtag Michael's classes, hashtag make it with Michael's, and tag at Tulip Color Crafts and hashtag Tulip Color Crafts. We love to see what you guys are doing. And I know that both Michael's and Tulip love to share your projects as well. All right, I'm going to put my accessories back on now that I can, because I am ready to gobble till I wobble. I hope you all have a wonderful and safe and happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye, friends.